The dawn tide had only just begun to retreat when the first whisper of horror brushed across Somerton Beach, and a milkman walking his early route was the one who saw it first, a man propped eerily against the seawall, legs stretched in the sand, his back straight, as though sitting in quiet contemplation of the dying night. But it was the expression that stopped the milkman cold. The face was calm, an expression set and frozen in place, as if the muscles no longer remembered how to soften or frown. The lips curled upward in the faintest smile that didn't match the pale wax of his skin. When the milkman stepped closer, he saw that the man's eyes were half open, staring directly at him, and a cold sting of breeze swept across the sand as he noticed the immaculate clothing, polished shoes, clean shave, and an undefinable wrongness he couldn't yet name. A half-smoked cigarette was resting on his collar, and there was a line from a Persian poem in his pocket. It was only when he touched the stranger's shoulder and felt the unnatural chill and stiffness that he realized the horrifying truth. The man was dead, and he had been posed. By the time investigators arrived, the brightening morning light only made the scene stranger. The Somerton Man, looking almost staged, like a mannequin placed for some morbid display. He wore a pressed brown suit, highly polished shoes free of sand, a knitted tie arranged with precise care, and a cigarette resting on his collar as though placed purposely. There was no wallet. All the labels had been removed from his clothing. He had no identification at all. Officers combed the beach and found no signs of struggle, no drag marks, no footprints leading away. Nighttime witnesses heard nothing except one woman who awoke to a rhythmic tapping at her window around 2 a.m., like a signal or warning. And another passerby claimed he saw a man standing far out on the jetty before dawn, staring toward the exact spot where the body appeared. Hidden deep in a tiny fob pocket was the infamous clue, a rolled scrap of paper bearing 2 Persian words, Tamám Shud, meaning it is finished, torn with unnatural precision, the edges too clean, too perfect, radiating a coldness that made one detective refuse to touch it again. The beach felt suffocatingly still that morning, as if the world itself held its breath. At the morgue, the body revealed nothing, but left investigators deeply disturbed. The man was in excellent shape, with unusual musculature, suggesting training, yet his hands were delicate and uncalloused, his hair neatly groomed, his teeth distinctive but unmatched to any Australian dental record, and no missing persons report fit him. No family, no friends, no lover came forward. It was as if he had never lived, as if he had materialized from nowhere. Rumors spread like fog: spy, fugitive, betrayed lover, a man cursed with forbidden knowledge, but none felt true. And the unspoken fear among investigators was that the man never wanted to be known, that his very identity was the crime. The Tamám Shud clue led detectives to a copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, abandoned in a stranger's car with the final page torn out. Inside were strange coded markings that taunted them, a riddle that seemed to shift when the room grew dim. A faintly written phone number led to a woman known as Justin, who turned ghost pale when told about the dead man, claiming not to know him, while her hands trembled and her eyes darted toward her dark hallway as if expecting something to emerge. Neighbors reported arguments, crying, and strange men knocking at all hours, and one claimed to see shadows moving behind Justin's curtains on nights when no lights were on. It turned out that Justin lived along Mosley Street, just a few hundred meters from where the body had been found. The cause of death hinted at poison, though none was found in his system. Faint bruises suggested a fast, efficient struggle. Investigators whispered a chilling theory. He wasn't murdered, he was erased. Lead investigator, Detective Sergeant Lean, began suffering nightmares of the Somerton Man sitting upright in the morgue with that faint smile widening as he whispered in an unknowable language. Other detectives reported late-night cars idling near their homes, vanishing letters, anonymous phone calls that played nothing but ocean waves, and silent figures watching from dark streets. One officer claimed he saw the same man at multiple locations across Adelaide, always staring, always gone when approached. Lean's notes disappeared from locked drawers. An informant who offered information was found drowned miles inland with seawater in his lungs and ink-stained fingers as if he tried to write something before he died. The deeper the investigators went, the more the case wrapped around them like a tightening noose. Someone guiding them, someone toying with them, someone warning them to stop. Other victims surfaced. A man who claimed to recognize the Somerton Man died days later in terror. A nurse linked to Jestin vanished, leaving her apartment unlocked, and a copy of the Rubaiyat opened to a page that shouldn't have existed. To this day, investigators have not been able to decipher the meaning of what they found. The most unsettling of all, Jestin's son, who grew up to eerily resemble the Somerton Man, as though the dead man had left a piece of himself behind, or come seeking it. Some believed the boy was the reason the Somerton Man died. Some believed he was next. It was found that Jessica's son and the Somerton Man shared a very similar ear structure and a rare genetic disorder that affects the teeth. Did they have a romantic relationship that was never confessed to the police? Theories darkened, spycraft, poisoned cigarettes, coded messages, cold-eyed strangers cleaning up unfinished business, forbidden knowledge and messages hidden in letters no one should decode, doomed romance and broken promises, paranormal watchers, shadowy organizations that left bodies wearing faint smiles. Another popular theory that the Somerton Man was actually a spy, considering the man's clothing tags had been removed, possibly to cover his tracks. And apparently, he died in such a mysterious way, with untraceable poison, and lastly, the strange code found linked to his body. Every theory felt deadly. Months later, Detective Lean returned to Somerton Beach at dawn, the same metallic chill in the air, and thought he saw a man standing still in the surf, watching him. When he approached, the figure vanished, leaving a fresh Tamám Shud scrap in the sand. Behind him, footsteps approached slowly, deliberately. He turned to see the Somerton Man, or something wearing his face, with half-open eyes and that faint, unreadable smile. "Why?" Leanne whispered, and the figure leaned in with a breath as cold as the sea and murmured, "It is finished," before disappearing into the wind, leaving only the crushing certainty that the case was never meant to be solved, and the far worse realization that the Somerton Man had never truly left. Today, the case of the Somerton Man remains unsolved and as mysterious as ever. The unknown man is laid to rest within the West Terrace Cemetery in the heart of Adelaide. His body is marked by a simple headstone. Please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me.